Today we're going to be trying out the new Makeup Geek eyeshadows. Now, I haven't really tried Makeup Geek in the past, which is probably shocking to a lot of you, but I have not been into makeup for that long, and I also haven't had my YouTube channel for that long, so I've never really experienced the hype of Makeup Geek. I'm not going to go into all the drama that's been going on with this brand and this launch and like the whole thing with the fancy face, and like I'm not a drama channel, I'm not about that, so I'm not even going to comment on it. So I just wanted to put that out there because I'm sure I'm going to get questions asking about my opinion and stuff like that, but that's not what this video is about. We are simply going to be testing out the eyeshadows. So I have my package here. I will say, first, straight off the bat, when I took out this palette, I was like, that looks beautiful. Like, that is really nice. Like I said, I haven't owned any of these palettes, but then I opened it, and like the inside is so kind of badly made. I don't know if you can see like just how crooked this whole thing is. It's almost like the magnet sticker that's like put inside of the palette is put in by hand or something, because it's like, it's just skewed. Like, I can't even like press this down properly. It's just, can you see like how badly made that is? So that's extremely annoying. I was going to take out all of the shadows and put them in here, but then I was like, you know what, I need to show you this palette first because I'm not happy with the quality of this. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Like, I don't even know if the shadows are going to fit properly in here because it's like raised up at the end here, so I don't really know. But I'm gonna take the shadows out and then we can, I guess, do some swatches and try them out, but I did want to just show you the palette first. So here's what these shadows come packaged as. I don't know exactly why there's two different types of packaging. I really don't know. I just picked out 9 shadows to fit in my palette. Is it 9 shadows? I think it was 9 shadows. I'm gonna take them all out, I'm gonna put them into the palette, and then I will come back and show you like what all of the colors are looking like. So I've taken all of the shadows out and I've put them into the palette. As you can see, there is plenty of room around the shadows. Obviously, this palette is not meant to just fit 9 of these shadows. I'm guessing this is like old palettes that they still had in stock or something. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about the fact that these are just kind of badly made, and I feel like since they were coming out with like a whole new rebrand, maybe they should have just made new palettes that would actually fit the shadows. I don't know, just a little pet peeve. Doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people, but I do feel like at least the quality of the palette, if they're not going to make new palettes, should be a little bit better. The mirror seems really nice though, I will say that. And I also realized that I guess the difference between these two is that this kind of packaging says foiled eyeshadow, so these are for the shimmers, I'm guessing, and then this is for the mattes. This one says Power Pigment. So I guess what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and swatch this. I do want to mention the price for these though. So all of these shadows individually were $7.99. Pretty sure I got a bundle deal because I got a palette and the palette was free when you create your own palette. One of these shadows ended up being $5.49. I don't know why that one was cheaper than the other ones, but yeah, so I ended up paying $62.47 for the whole thing. Shipping did end up being free, and I did use Raw Beauty Christie's code, which was 10% off. So yeah, let's go ahead and do some swatches with these. I will show you what they look like, and then we're gonna do a look with them, and hopefully I like the shadows more than I like my experience so far, but we'll see what happens. So my first impression on the swatches is that most of them swatch okay, but 2 of these mattes were just really bad. Not that swatches mean everything, but I have a feeling they're going to be maybe a little bit hard to work with. So this blue in particular, as well as this purple, as you can see, they definitely don't look the best. So I'm curious to just try them on the eyes. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to prime with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and then we're going to create a look. I do want to try some of those shades that swatched really badly because I'm just curious to see how they're going to perform on the eyes. Like, I'm more worried about those colors than I am with the ones that swatched better, if that makes sense. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a blue here, and I'm going to put that in my outer corner as well as pull it through my crease, and then I'm going to use the yellow to blend this out with. And the reason why I'm going in with the blue first is just because of how bad this swatched, and I just don't feel like it's going to build the absolute best, so I want to give this the best chance it has to really stick to my eye here and not get patchy. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going on quite pigmented. I'm a little bit worried like trying to blend this out here and then just layering that yellow on top. I just don't know how that is going to end up looking, but I'm not going to judge the shadow until I've actually tried it. So let's go ahead and just try to build this up slowly here. I'm using my Rephr number 13 brush, which is my absolute favorite.
I'm trying to stay focused, but somehow All I can think of is when you split. I gotta find the motive.
So I would say so far it's looking okay. It's looking a little bit patchy just like in my crease here, but I think that when I go in and really build this up, it's going to layer okay. So I'm not mad at this. It's definitely performing a little bit better than I originally thought it was going to. In my outer corner though, it's a little bit patchy, but I do think that I'll be able to fix that by just making sure I build this up nicely.
Forward, watch every sequence bit by bit. 'Cause this is my own investigation. I am obsessed with finding out why you left. I keep on searching.
So I might have to eat my words there because I do feel like this is looking better than I expected. Next up, I'm going to go into the yellow, and like I said, I'm going to use this shadow to blend out the blue with. So I'm basically just going to run that over the edge where the blue kind of meets my skin here and just blend everything together.
All the missing pieces, try to find the reason why I ended up without you, baby.
I can't say I'm like the most impressed by this yellow so far. It's not really that pigmented, and it does have a lot of kick up, and it doesn't really build that well here. I'm also a little bit worried that it's removing some of that blue underneath.
Turning every stone like a detective. What's your objective? I guess I'm addicted. I need to know why.
So I'm not even sure if you can really tell that I used the yellow on camera. I mean, it obviously turned into a bit of a green where I mixed the two, which is to be expected. I'm gonna go back into the blue now and just try to build this up a little bit more and just kind of see what happens like in my crease here, if this builds at all.
You rejected me like a detective. What's your objective? I guess I'm addicted. I need to know why you rejected me. I'm lying awake in our bed while staring holes in the ceiling.
So I would say the blue is definitely performing a lot better than the yellow. I mean, this is building okay and it's looking pretty good if I can say so myself. I'm gonna go back into that yellow and just really try to build this up as much as I'm able to. So maybe this yellow actually would have been better if I had gone in with the yellow first and packed it on and then went in with blue, but having seen like how badly the blue swatched, I was very worried that it just wouldn't build at all. So I just felt like this was the way to go, but maybe I should have done it like in the opposite direction here and gone in with the yellow first. So I think this is looking okay. I will say so far this isn't like my favorite formula of all time, and it's taken quite a while to get to this point. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the blue shimmer. Is that what I want to use? I think I want to use the blue shimmer here on the outer portion or like the middle of my lid, and then we'll take it from there. I think maybe I want to use the purple on my lower lash line just to like test out some more colors. But let's first go in with one of these shimmers. I'm very curious to see what the shimmer formula is going to be like. So like I said, I'm gonna put that basically in the middle of my lid and then blend it into that blue in the outer corner. And this is a beautiful blue. I really like the tone of this. So far this is laying down beautifully and it's really blending into that blue that I have in my crease in my outer corner really nicely. And before I do anything else in my inner portion here, I do want to do my lower lash line just to kind of see what it is I want to do. So I think I'm going to first start with a purple, and I'm going to kind of wrap that around and blend it into the blue that I have in the outer corner a little bit. And then maybe I'll do like the pink on the inner portion and then layer the pink shimmer on top just so we can kind of test out more shadows here. So I'm going to start by just smudging this underneath my eye on the outer portion, and like I said, just blend it into blue here a little bit as well. I just don't want to blend this into the yellow that I have in my crease because that is going to make it a little bit muddy since purple and yellow are complementary colors. I feel like this is going on the eye better than in the swatch at least, and it's sticking to my lower lash line pretty well for being, you know, a dry base underneath, or not having a base at all, I should say. So I'm keeping this purple kind of low down. I'm not going to really smoke this out because I do think I want to use that pink, and I want to kind of use that under my whole lower lash line and also use it to blend out this purple with. So let's use a little bit of this pink. I'm gonna start by placing it down in the inner portion where I don't have any shadow yet, and when I've gotten that where I want it, I'm going to also run it underneath the dark purple and just use this color to really blend this out with. This pink was one of the shadows that swatched the best, so I'm definitely not going to be surprised if this performs as well as it's swatched, and it seems to be going on the eye very nicely here. I'm gonna switch to a fluffier brush again and use that to really smoke this out. Now this is of course like a kind of crazy look, but I just want to test out as many colors as I can here, even if these don't really go that nicely together. I do think that this is kind of removing a little bit of that purple, and it's probably because, yeah, I mean, I can't really see much of that purple anymore now that I put down the pink here, and I'm not really surprised because I didn't feel like it was going to stick to my eye that nicely, which it's fine if you really just pack it on and don't move it around, but once you go in and start blending things on top, you might have a little bit of an issue with it sticking to your eye. And I can actually say the same thing about the pink. Like, I feel like it's just not sticking to my eye that nicely and is a little bit sheer. So these two colors are definitely going to perform better on top of something that has not been set, but I mean, that can be said with any kind of colorful eyeshadow really, but I definitely have shadows in my collection that I feel like perform a lot better than these have so far, and I don't ever see myself reaching for any of these mattes or probably even shimmer over anything else that I have in my collection, because I have so many beautiful eyeshadows that I don't really think that these can compete with that. But if your collection is maybe a little bit smaller than mine, I don't think that you would hate these eyeshadows. It's just that I have so many beautiful eyeshadows from indie brands that I absolutely love that this is just like a little bit of a letdown, I guess, if you will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on just perfecting the blends between the mattes, and then we can go in with two of these other shimmers because I do want to test those out as well. I just want to make sure that like all of the edges and stuff here are looking okay first. And I also just do want to add that I'm sure that the neutral shadows from Makeup Geek are a lot better because those are the ones that I've heard everybody rave about. And I think this is the first time Makeup Geek has come out with like really colorful shadows. So, I mean, it's probably trial and error, and I'm sure it's harder to formulate than making good, solid, neutral shadows, you know? So for this being like their first time, I don't think that these are terrible. They're just not my favorites. I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more of that purple and just try to build this up a little bit. Okay, so I've tried for so long to really try to build this up and get it to look as good as it's going to get, and I think this is as good as it gets, and I don't love it, but it's okay. Let's move on. So for the inner portion of my lid, I'm gonna go into this kind of greenish gold, and then I think for my first part of my lower lash line, I'm gonna layer a bit of this pink shimmer on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off with the shadows, and then we can see how it is looking when it's all come together.
I'm lying awake in our bed while staring holes in the ceiling. I got no clues. You played a trick in my head. Can't listen to reason or logic. I'm so confused.
Okay, so this is it for the shadows. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my eyes. I'll come back, we can sum up. I definitely have some thoughts I would like to get out, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I will tell you what I use when I come back. So hang on tight and I will finish off my eyes and I will show you what the look looks like. Okay, so this is the look all done, and I do feel like it came together in the end. Like, I don't hate the look, I just don't really love the experience that I had with the shadows. But before I give you my final thoughts on this, I just want to show you what I used. So I used in my waterline, I used Crybaby from ColourPop. It's just like a very light lavender. When I have pinks on my lower lash line, sometimes I find that if I use like a purple or a pink in my waterline, it looks a little bit weird. So I like to have something that's going to kind of break up the line between the pink and my eyeball. So that's what I did. And then for lips, I used one of my Anna Sui lipsticks. This is in the shade F202. It's a beautiful pink. I feel like I need to change now though, because this shirt and this red stripe thingy that's going on isn't really doing it with this eye look, or this lipstick for that matter. So definitely gonna have to change after this video, which story of my life. But let's talk a little bit more about these shadows though. So my thoughts on these is that, first off, I mean, the palette, just unacceptable. Like, it really shouldn't be like that. And I also feel like the shadows themselves really didn't live up to my expectations. I felt like the mattes were very sheer and just not that pigmented. The shimmers are okay. They're nothing like special or out of the ordinary. They're just very solid shimmers. Don't hate them, don't love them per se. I definitely have shimmers that I like more, that are more unique and more intense, but that is of course just personal preference. I know a lot of people like shimmers that aren't so in your face and that aren't as foiled and like wet looking as the ones that I prefer. But I do think that they have a long way to go with the mattes. I definitely think that the mattes have some improvement potential, if you will. So, I mean, would I recommend these shadows from Makeup Geek? Probably not the colorful ones. I would say you're probably better off if you want to try Makeup Geek and try their new formula. I don't even know if this formula is new or if it's just the like pans that are square now instead of round. I really don't know. Like I said, I have not been into Makeup Geek, so I don't know their history very much. So yeah, I guess those are going to be my thoughts. I definitely would not recommend the shadows that I bought, especially the mattes. Maybe the green matte is going to be better. I mean, honestly, I tried most of these. I think the only shadow that I didn't try were these two, so the green and the like very dark blue. Those were the only ones that I don't have on my eyes right now. And so, I mean, I feel like I tried enough to give, you know, a first impression at least. So yeah, those are my thoughts as of right now. If I end up trying these again, I'm of course going to give you updates and such, but I don't think I'm going to do like a 3 looks or anything with this palette, because I just have other things that I would rather focus on right now that are going to make me more happy. And if I'm being completely honest, like, I don't really have a desire to reach for these again because they just weren't that fun to work with. So take that for what you want. So that's going to be my review on the Makeup Geek shadows. If you have a different opinion than me, that is totally fine. I respect you. I hope that you can respect me as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I'll pop up some more content on the screen if you want to check those out as well. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.